Hello, hi, welcome everyone. This is me, Prem Kumar, your host and aapka dost. Shifting from an auditing career as a chartered accountant as an ACCA to more of a transactions-based career like investment banking, fund management, hedge funds, deals advisory. A lot of people are recently intrigued because there's a lot more money in that career than accounting, auditing, or assurance, right? People are intrigued because that's more interesting as well, because you want to see those real life scenarios of transactions happening in the world. Now the question really comes in for auditing individuals that if you have done your articleship in audit, you are trying to move abroad in an audit space, can you really go for that career, your dream career, for example? So that's a real question I have been asked many times by different individuals, that we want to do deals advisory, we want to do a career in transactions, we want to grow investment banking, but can we really do that? Especially we want to move a country and then change the field. So I'll give you some highlights on that, what I have seen. Some of my friends have been through this process, some of them have failed to go through this process, what are the requirements, and I'll just try to brief whatever I know. Before going into the details, I'll just highlight my channel has 500 plus videos on different topics, including life in UK, lifestyle, immigration, work-life balance, a lot more, all sorted in the playlist. So definitely check out and make sure to subscribe my channel. It just helps to grow. Back to the topic. Now, if you're a typical accountant, auditor, now you fancy a career in investment banking, a career in investment management, you fancy doing CFA, and you want to do some more of a real market-based stuff. What does it even look like? Is it possible? Now, I'll break that into two parts. Number one, doing something locally and then trying to move onwards. So in local countries, for example, Pakistan, there's not much market for transaction-based services. There are hardly many activities that happen in the market that you're intrigued with. And of course, some of the top firms get the opportunity to support those transactions, and most of people don't get a large picture. In India, there's high demand, of course, there are more transactions, but then again, number of firms in India are much higher. There are large corporations operating there to support that. So opportunities wise, there are less opportunities. People can get exposed to in the local countries, and that means they get less exposure to that, even in the deals advisory space. So if you were a local auditor and you even thought to move to the local departments or local firms, there's still a less chance that you get the relevant exposure that's needed for the international job. So that's more of a local thought. Now people mostly think of, okay, I got my audit experience in Pakistan, in India, in Bangladesh, who was watching me, in UAE, I got some experience in UAE in auditing field. Now I want to move to UK, USA, and then I think I will move to audit. I'll spend some time and then I'll move to deals advisory, transaction services. So what does it even look like financial advisory? So what does it even look like? So on this thought process, yes, from an audit to audit job, it's much easier. You apply for audit job, it's much easier than getting in a different field job. You come to UK, you go to another country, you have to stay there because that's the reason you came here. You can't just go into the country and say I want to get a transfer to other department. It's just not happening, because that's not you are hired for. So you'll be, of course, doing some time in audit. So if you spend like 4 years in your local country for training, 2 years in 2-3 years in your other country, 2-3 years in UK, for example, in your audit career, and now you want to drift away in advisory, in financial advisory. Yes, there have been people who have done that, and there have been people who couldn't do it despite trying a lot. Right. So giving you more flavor, there are very less opportunities in UK firms for people to move from audit to advisory, especially financial advisory. The reason is the financial advisory guys can get some great talent locally as well as from abroad who are very skilled in the same field of work, rather than getting an audit personnel join them and teach them everything from start. Now that depends on your grade, your seniority as well, and that's very important factor, because I know some of the people who got transferred to an advisory, who made the effort to go to advisory, financial advisory, early in the career, were successful. Then people who try to do it later in their career, like as a manager and above, senior manager, they failed in that process. Now I'll explain the reason why. One of my friends from India, she did her articleship from India, did some work at Big Four, and then moved to UK as well in auditing. She spent like 1.5 years in audit as an assistant manager. At assistant manager level, she shifted away to financial advisory, Of course, that means you have to give all the internal interviews and everything, but she was successful at AM level. Another example, my friend was a manager about to go to senior manager level. He tried his best to go in advisory at manager level, but he couldn't succeed. The differentiating factor between these two cases is as early as you're in your career, it's much easier to train you. There's less expectation from you. So the person who went as assistant manager could start from scratch very easily rather than the person who goes on a manager or senior manager level, because that's expectation you go and deliver rather than we stay there and teach you from scratch, because that's not expectation of this role. So if you are a person who is an auditor trying to move to other country and then shift field, make sure you try it much early in your career. Like, if you are there for 1 year, 1.5 years, start doing the process, start looking into it, rather than thinking of 3-4 years and then drifting, because it essentially gets very hard moving in the end. So overall, yes, opportunities are there. They are limited because, again, as I said, because those guys in transaction services or financial advisory don't want people at assistant manager level, but teaching them at the level of intern or somebody who is associate, because you are literally starting from scratch. I understand you know all the financial statements and everything, but again, from a work perspective, from the ways of working, from how you actually do that work, it's slightly different, and that means you have to be taught from start the way how transaction services work, how financial advisory works, and that means, of course, putting more efforts for higher level when you can get the same talent who already knows that stuff. Hopefully, this gives some flavor to you as is there a possibility, and yes, there is a possibility. It's less, it's reduced with time, but yes, there is, and there are people who have been successfully transitioned to advisory career. Thank you so much for watching.